Cheers. Hey y'all, thank y'all for tuning back into another vlog. As y'all see by the title of this video, it is a little bit of a different vlog. This one, instead of more about my life and my day-to-day, this is strictly about my experience in the military. But in regular tradition, I owe you guys a drink, and today's drink is called Jade. It's green, excuse my nail, but it's called Jade. So in this drink, I will make sure to link the ingredients in this. So I have some champagne. I actually use white wine in this instead of champagne. I use Midori, I use blue curaçao, and I use lemon juice. I did go ahead and top it off with some lime yuzu. I'll put it in there. Usually I prefer Sprite, but I didn't have any Sprite or any soda water, so I topped it with that lime yuzu. And to me, it does the same thing. And it has that lime undertone, so it keeps the drink sort of citrusy and limey. So especially because Midori is a melon liqueur. This is not too sweet. Like something sweet that I think of is a tequila sunrise. It's not sweet like a tequila sunrise because that blue curaçao, but it is sweet. It does have that sort of that sour taste if you prefer like blue Long Island and stuff like that. So thank you guys for tuning in the video. We're gonna sit down and have a chit chat and have some talks about my experience in the military. I'll see y'all on the next part of this video. So, and I hope you guys make this with me and enjoy it with me. Tell me in the comments how you like it. If you have any questions, please make sure to comment. And thank you again for returning. If you're returning, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Thank you, Wookie. Cheers. So I'm happy y'all made it to this part of the video, and I hope y'all went ahead and made that drink with me. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking down my iPad. I have my notes on here, but I just wanted to have like a girl talk. I always be talking to my camera and I never post it. So I wanted to have like a girl guy talk, if you're a man watching this, about my experience and why I joined the military. If you hear noise in the background, it's my dog walking around. Excuse her, this is her house too. So I do want to give a disclaimer. I am not a recruiter, okay? I am not speaking for the military or for you to join or recruitment. I get so many questions from my friends and family or even random people on social media because I post my experiences in the military. I always talk about how I enjoyed my experience in the military, but that is not everybody's experience in the military. So you want to please make sure that you do your research on whatever branch that you want to join, on the military or in the past. Do not judge everybody's experience and expect that to be your own, because everyone's life is different. Everyone's life path is completely different. And a recruiter can assist you on furthering the process and any further questions because they have access to resources and knowledge that I don't know. Regs change regularly and you just want to make sure to stay on top of that. So this is just my personal experience and my personal journey. That out the way, let's get to the point of this video. So the point of this video is why I joined the military. So before we get to why I joined the military, let's discuss when I joined the military. So I joined the military at 19. Okay, so my reason for joining the military, I'm 25 now, so I'm still pretty young. I'm about to be 26. I actually just got out in July of 2024. So the reason why I joined was because when I got out of school, and I'm not sure if this is a struggle for many other people, I know usually you see like higher military rates, military entrance rates in communities that are poverty stricken or are like middle class, because usually that's the area of kids that their parents may make too much for certain things but don't make enough to afford college. And if you aren't high school, they try to put you on resources about scholarships, but there's so many scams and things that you have to weed through. It's very difficult to find a scholarship. In high school, you're just figuring out who you are as a teenager. So to figure out what you want to do for the next couple years of your life, the rest of your life for some people, is a lot. That's a lot of pressure. Usually you don't make decisions, like life decisions, until later in your life when you have children and you have something to work for, you know? So a lot of times you're just not ready. In my case, I did want to go to school. I actually went to go to school for criminal justice. That was a program I pursued in school, but it was so much going on with that. Not like my whatever criminal history, I don't have one, but of like just schools and scams and just so much. So I decided that criminal justice wasn't for me. I actually wanted to be in the FBI or CIA. I really did, because I was like, oh, this is so cool. I've always wanted to be part of something bigger than myself, because I love working towards the mission of something and seeing my hard work pay out, you know. And I feel like a lot of times in businesses, it's difficult to see how your role plays a key part in how a mission operates, because there's so many moving parts to it. And with things like the FBI, I don't know their experiences, or the CIA, but when you're working on specific projects, it's easier to track your progress and your accomplishments in that way, if that makes sense. So originally in high school, I took the ASVAB. They offered it. I originally was going to go in the Navy, and I was going to do nuclear engineering because I wanted to be an engineer. And I didn't know what type of engineering, but nuclear engineering seemed like a pretty good job in the Navy. But the only thing that sort of caught me off guard that I wasn't necessarily for was you were at the bottom of the boat. I have been on a cruise. I don't like being at the bottom of the boat. I don't see Titanic, okay? I was like, yeah, no, don't put me down there. So my mother was an immigrant. She is not a U.S. citizen. So she didn't live in the United States. So in order for me to join the Navy, I scored a 77 on the ASVAB. So in order for me to join, I would have to send my paperwork over to her to sign. And this paperwork had a lot of personal information on it. I was not comfortable sending that overseas to a country I've never been to, no matter who it was, okay? You know? But, and excuse me if y'all see me chewing, I need a snack. I wasn't comfortable sending that information, so I decided that I'm gonna hold off on the Navy, and I'm not gonna pursue that necessarily just yet. I had Army recruiters talking to me. 78 at that time was pretty high, especially as a woman. And I don't want to say as like women are not smart as men, because I scored very high on general math, all those things. Just it was like the car stuff, because there was parts about cars. You showed me a picture of a car, everything was an alternator. It was like, what is this? A gas pedal? I don't know. Don't ask me. Like, yeah, they could show me the roof of the car and I'd be like, yeah, that's a steering wheel.
The problem right there, what is that? The topinator. See, the topinator hooked up to the motor. The motor ain't pushing enough pressure out for the gas pedal. The gas pedal got a lot of dirt in that oil. If you can look right here, you see that dust box? The bus.
I suck at any parts of mechanical things. So for me to get that, I was actually pretty impressed and pretty satisfied with the score that I got. I didn't understand how high or low. To me, a 70 was a C. So, but in terms of joining the military, that is relatively high, on the higher end. It's still in the midsection, but it's more on the higher end, because I think you need like a 30 something to join. Don't quote me. Maybe in another video, if you guys want another video on this, I could give you the correct number. But anyways, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hold off on joining the Navy because I wasn't comfortable sending my personal information overseas. So I decided not to do that. So at this time, I actually decided that I did not want to join the military anymore. I decided I was gonna go to UCF. I was gonna go to, I forgot the other school that's up there. I think it's like Seminole State. Yeah, Seminole State. And I was gonna get my associates and transfer to UCF. I'm gonna figure out how to apply for scholarships and grants from there. Then I learned about FAFSA and the Pell Grant and stuff like that, like stuff I didn't even know. And I wasn't talking to my father, so I didn't have any access to the resources like his GI Bill and stuff like that. And I know for folks that were in service prior to certain years, like it had to pass it on within a certain time frame. It was too much, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know how to go about receiving those benefits on his behalf to give that to me, you know? So in order to avoid all that, I was applying to scholarships. I had gotten to Seminole State because it is a community college, and I moved to Orlando with my friend. I saved up, got a car over the summer after I graduated high school at 18, and I lived in Orlando, and I was broke. I was broke as a joke. It was not funny how broke I was.
Do you need some money?
I'm not sure if any of y'all have lived in college housing, but they sell you a room in a house or a townhome, and all of y'all in there, if it's 5 rooms or 4 rooms, y'all all paying $800, $900. That is like highway robbery. This townhome probably only costs $2,000, $1,500. They're charging $700 per 4 rooms. That's $2,800. This townhome only costs $1,500. You just made a $1,300 profit off the backs of poor college students. What? So I moved up there. My friend invited me to come up, and we were splitting a room. We were splitting a room in a bed. It's not my best times.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
But we were splitting a room. Usually when I was at work, she was at home. When I was home, she was at work. So we was able to offset our schedule like that. But oh my goodness, like when we had days off, we head to foot. So yes. And I was struggling to pay that. My car insurance was like $400 in Orlando. Bruh, I'm 18, my first car, and it's a lemon. Like, I was like, what is going on? It's a used car. I didn't know nothing about buying cars. I got a 23% interest rate on a $5,000 car. I put $1,500 down. I owed $14,000 on the car. Bruh, where were the adults in the situation? So anyways, it just was not hitting for me. And I always had dreams to be a hairstylist. I wanted to go to cosmetology school. That's something that really interests me. But cosmetology school is about $17,000 to $20,000. I didn't have that money. I didn't even have a scholarship money to go to the state college. So how was I gonna have money to pay for cosmetology school? And that is every day 8 to 5. Like, you have to, work around a job. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work. So I decided that in 6 months, if I can't save $1,000, I was going to join the military. But I was going to start the process of doing it. So if at the end of the 6 months I did not save $1,000, I could just go. It wasn't 6 months, I'm broke these 6 months, now I gotta wait another 6 months. No, I was like, I'm gonna do MEPS, I'm gonna do the ASVAB again, because I had taken it like 2 or 3 years prior. So just to make sure I still scored the same score and I was good. So in Orlando, I reached out to a recruiter out there. I actually went on the Air Force page, and I reached out to the recruiter line. And they connected me with the recruiter that I had that was out in Kissimmee. And sorry, my dog being weird. Okay, back to what I was saying. So they connected me with the recruiter. And once I made contact with the recruiter, basically he was like, come in person, we'll meet, and we'll start the process. So we did go ahead and start the process. I went to MEPS in like March of 2018. Yeah, March of 2018. So I was still 18 at this time. I hadn't turned 19 yet. And I couldn't afford nothing. It was so expensive. And we split in a room. Keep in mind, it was still so expensive living by myself. So I decided to move back home. I actually got a job at a hair salon. and I was her braider, and she was a huge, well-known stylist in the city that I was in. So she was booked and busy, and I was only getting $200 a week per person that she braided. Or excuse me, not person. Hold on, I say that back. $200 a week, and she was booked and busy. So each day she had about 10 clients. I'm working 5 to 6 days a week. That's 60 people, 50 people. Even if we want to do 50, and I'm getting $200, I'm getting $4 per person. She's charging them $200 a piece. What? No, I was like, bruh, and I actually spoke to her, and I was like, hey, like, can we go up to $300 a week? And she was like, no, like, I can't afford that. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, so I started doing hair on the side. I started with locks. I was doing braids. I was trying to transition to wigs. This is the time that wigs started becoming a big thing. And it wasn't necessarily wigs, because frontals was still, like, we still looked at frontals like how our aunties and stuff used to wear it like a mess. Because it used to be like a blunt hairline. They weren't really plucking it. It was sort of slapped on people's head and looked crazy. So when closures and stuff started coming out, frontals started coming out, we was doing quick weaves and sew-ins. We were still on that. We were sort of transitioning to wigs. This is when wigs just started becoming popular. We hadn't even gotten down to baby hairs yet. So we was really it was the breakthrough of wigs when it started peaking. So I was a braider for a few weeks. At this time, I had already gone to MEPS. I had moved back home back in like April or May. And I had moved back to MEPS, or excuse me, I had went to MEPS in March. I went to MEPS in Tampa. So at this point, I am back home chilling, still trying to save that $1,000, because I did not want to go. I was like, I'm going to figure it out. I don't want the military to be my only option into stuff, you know? So I did save that $1,000, obviously, because we're here. So I did save the $1,000. And I actually got a call center job, and I'm not sure if any of y'all have encountered this as a younger person, is you're in a space of you don't have enough experience in something to get a job in it, but they won't give you the job to get the experience. So how am I supposed to get the experience? You won't hire me because I don't got no experience. The next job not hiring me because I don't got no experience. Where am I supposed to get the experience? I don't know nobody. It's just me. Like, it's just me. I'm not sure if any of you guys have family members. They get a job, they stay there. They don't move around. They get a job, they stay there. And that is it. Like, they go to work, they come back home. They're not necessarily networking or moving out and about, finding out different career fields and different things. Because there's so many other things I could have done that I didn't know about, that I just was like, what the world? And I know people always recommend the medical field. I do not care about the medical field, because I do not care to remember all the veins in your body. I don't care. As long as my doctor cares, that's all that matters. I do not want to deal with people regularly. People are mean. I've worked in restaurants. I've worked on the phone. People are mean. I do not have a mental capacity for medical things. I do not care that much for medical things. I prefer math, because medical, I have to read. I don't want to read. I prefer to just do some math. So, yes, that was my dilemma. I didn't want anything medical. I didn't want to clean booties. I didn't want to feel like, and to me, I give props to it, because that is so needed. People are needed to be taken care of as far as like CNAs, but they were making the same amount as me in the call center. Like, they don't pay enough to the people that are literally taking care of people's parents so they can go out and work, you know? So it just was like, it's a thankless job, underpaid, overworked, and I got clean dookie. I'd be gagging off throw up. I can't imagine having to lift another person and clean their booty and shower. It'd be a lot to make myself shower. So no, I knew the medical field wasn't me, and a lot of times you don't find out more about jobs in the medical field and other fields until you get older. Like, who knows what a logistics analyst is? Who knows what a data analyst is? So it's just like those type of things. And I didn't necessarily have the resources to even know where to look. And that's where networking comes in handy. But at 18, you're telling an 18-year-old to network who has no experience. Most of the people that are networking are families that have money, that they have resources and time to hang out with other families that have money, who have resources and time. It trickles down. Or kids that, you know, maybe peaked in high school and stuff like that. Maybe they had a ride. I didn't have a ride places. I had to, I had to ride the city bus or I had to walk. And my school was in a completely different city than where I live. So it just was not, it was not gonna work. So I literally was stuck with the be a stripper. I didn't even have money to do the CNA thing, but I could have did that, to be honest, do something in the medical field, which I do not want to do. And I feel like you should want to do it. Like, that's something you should want to do. You shouldn't want to do it just for the money, because that you're playing with people's lives. And I didn't want to follow that path and do that. So I got stuck in that cycle of call centers because that's the only thing that will hire an 18-year-old with no experience, because you're just sitting at the phone selling their products all day. And the money in those jobs is trash. Minimum wage was $7. They was paying $9. The one job that I had got, I think actually, so minimum wage was like $7.25. The job started at $8.50. Be for real. Who, like, you can't live on minimum wage. What makes you think I can live $1 more than minimum wage? So I got another job and it was at $10 an hour. When I got there, fortunately they went up $1. They gave us 11. So I was like, oh, I'm balling. You know, I got a little bit of money in my pocket. No money. And I was still broke, and I was like, I don't like how this feels. I don't like it. I'm tired of being stuck in this cycle. I was literally applying to anything to get myself out of it. Administrative assistants, executive assistants. And I was so unsuccessful in getting those jobs. And it's probably because I didn't make my resume right, make it stand out. I didn't really know how to. That's not something that you're given unless you go out looking for resume workshops. And a lot of times the workshops are cookie cutter. I didn't know what path I wanted to take. And resume workshops aren't necessarily, my experience, aren't necessarily giving you the knowledge outside of like cookie cutter careers, being a plumber, being a CNA, being an admin assistant. They're not telling you about those careers that you know most people have no idea about. I don't know what a data analyst is, but if I had known it's just a couple Google certificates and I could get my foot in the door over here, I would have been, you know? So it's like those type of stuff, it's like it's not enough knowledge. And I will say, like, community centers, like Career Source and stuff like that, while it is discouraging to those places, because most of the people that are there are unemployed, but some people are really looking for career services, and those are there for you, like you're paying taxes and everything to use those. So I don't think we even had a career source where I was. That's how bad it was. No, actually, I take that back. I did go to the career source, but a lot of them were contracting jobs for call centers, because in the city I was living in, that's just about all the jobs they had at that time. It was a growing city, but they didn't have no jobs for real. It was barely homes. So now the city's booming because they started building more homes. But at the time, they were in that denial phase. Like, the city is growing, but we don't know if we want to add stuff to the city just yet. But the city is growing, but we don't want to we don't want to acknowledge that's growing. So it got to the point where it's like, okay, we can't deny it no more. The city is growing. We need more stuff. We need more resources. We need buses. We need Ubers. Because when I first lived there, there was no city transit. That's like how small and how like of a retirement town the city was. It was strictly cars. You had to have a car. It's not a walking city because it was nothing but homes. It was not a lot of businesses. So the only things that was hiring was call centers. And I was trying to get out of the cycle of call centers. So yeah, I just was unsuccessful. I was reaching out to my recruiter. I was like, hey, when can I leave? You got anything available, please, I'll take it now. It's like, we have crew chief, but I don't think that would work for you. That's why I didn't recommend it to you. I was like, let me research it and get back to you because I want to leave. I'm ready to go. And I researched it. They was the redheaded stepchild of the Air Force. I sat on it for a day because I was like, I really want to go. I'm tired of being stuck in this cycle. I'm broke. If you're joining the military for money, not a good idea. So I was like, you know what? This career is not for me. I'm being desperate. Let me wait. I'm gonna wait for something that he feels like, because you needed the minimum score to get crew chief was a little bit lower than what I scored on. So he felt like it wasn't the best use of my knowledge and my skills because I scored well on the ASVAB. So he was like, I didn't think it fit you. It's a hard labor job, and I don't like that because what you trying to say, women can't do it? So I'd be quick to prove somebody wrong. So I was like, when I looked at it and it was like 16-hour days in the hot sun, baby, I like my hair done. Absolutely not. And I looked it up, can you get your nails done? Most likely no. Definitely not. Okay, I wanted something cute. No, if we're getting paid to do the same thing, you're getting paid to be in the office, you're getting paid to work in the gym, you're getting paid to be outside in the sun for 16 hours. I'd rather be in the office. Okay, let's pick your struggle, please. Pick your struggle well. So I was like, we're getting paid the same. I don't care enough to be in the hot sun. I don't even like sweating like that. I want to be in the AC. This is not going to work. Let me know when you get another job. He's like, okay. A couple weeks later, see with the patients, like I want to say like 2 weeks later, he's like, yeah, I have a job. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. He's like, okay, bet. Come next week, come sign a contract. Came, signed the contract. Reserves, how it goes is you sign the contract for the reserves and you're waiting for a ship date. So you don't necessarily leave just yet. You do go to like your reserve weekends, and in that time that you're waiting for a basic training date to fall down or them to have availability, because reserves have so many slots because it is like a smaller force. In that time, you're sort of waiting, and you're going to a reserve weekend, you're learning about the military late entry program, because that's basically what it is. While you're waiting to go to basic, you're learning about the Air Force. So when you go to basic training and you're standing there, you have to have knowledge, because you do take an exam in basic training. You have to have knowledge about the Air Force, the rank structure, and all that stuff. At least you have an idea of that, the number of Air Forces, like the Air Force structures, things like that. So I enlisted as a 2 Whiskey O, which is ammo munition systems, and I have my CCAF in munition systems technology. So that was the job that I chose. Now, when you are joining the military, I chose the Air Force Reserves. The reason why I chose the reserves is because my goal was school, as we spoke about before. So my goal was to go to school, and I wanted to stay true to that. I wanted the freedom of month to month. I could get my nails done any way I wanted. Besides the drill weekend, I wanted to be in the military, but I wasn't prepared to leave my family completely. But I wanted still the opportunity to travel. I still wanted the opportunity to train. I still wanted the opportunities to grow. But my main goal also was to experience being an adult. A lot of times in active duty, which is a great choice if you do not want the stress of figuring out insurance. I wanted the stress of that because I didn't want to get out the military at 30, at 40, and never had shopped for insurance before, or never had shopped for certain things. Like those are things that were important to me to figure out. And even on top of that, getting out the military at 30, 40, your peers are well into their career. You've had a military career, which is a career, but as far as like figuring out what you want to do with the rest of your life or your retirement until you reach retirement age, I wanted to have that already, because your military career, your job may not necessarily be something that you like or you enjoy, and cross training doesn't come as easily as people make it seem sometimes. It's based on availability, commander approval, and the commander changes every 2 years or so depending on your branch. So if this person sometimes they're focused on retention. They're like, no, we're short manned in this unit. We're not gonna let you leave. You're like, I just want to be a firefighter. Like, I just want my foot in the door. I want to be a firefighter. What's going to happen? So you have to wait 2 years for this person to leave to possibly the next person come in and roll to do that. And then when they come in the role, they're learning it just as you're learning your job, learning you. They're learning their role, and then you have to wait for their approval. The leadership who's under that commander also has to learn that command. So it's a lot, you know? So I was like, I want to build my life. I want to go to school. I want to get my degree. I wanted to commission. And I was like, in order to do that, I need the freedom to do that. In active duty, you don't necessarily all the time have the freedom to do that, because someone is in control of your life. When you eat, sleep, poop, everything, the military is your life, and the military comes first. So I didn't want that. I wanted to have a little bit of freedom of building my life outside of the military. So after the military, I had a life to go back to. Not my life is the military. When I come out, I have to rebuild my life again, you know? So in active duty, there are pros and cons. You just have to outweigh them based on your situation. I wanted to be close to home. I wanted to have a little bit control over what base I was going to. I wanted to be able to build my life, and that's what I chose. But the caveat to that is you don't get certain benefits that active duty does. And you want to make sure to research into that, just like your GI Bill. Yes, you are entitled to your GI Bill, but to get 100% of the GI Bill, you have to do 3 years active duty service. You can get that time in reserves if you deploy a lot, if your unit has AGR positions, if your job offers orders, but that is dependent on your job. And these are things that they don't tell you before you join. You don't know, hey, I may not be able to go to school because this job is so demanding. And you wouldn't think about that stuff because you have plans, but at 18, 19, sometimes your perception of the world is a little naive. You don't really know until you're in it. And that's with a lot of jobs. You don't know how demanding the work is until you're in it, excuse me. So I was fortunate that my base was a deploying base. They deployed a lot, and their deployment was like every 3 years. That's a lot of deployments. Active duty units usually deploy a lot more, and that is you have to take pro and cons. People like it because of the money, but people don't like it because you're away from your family for 6 to 8 months. Some branches are longer. So you just have to, outweigh the pros and cons. Like, yes, it's good money, but I just missed my baby's birth. I just missed my friend's wedding. I just missed so-and-so's graduation, So the branches of militaries that there are Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, Air National Guard, Air Force Reserves, Space Force. Did I name all? I hope I named all of them. But the primary ones are Space Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. Those are, when you think of the military, those are the ones that you're usually like, okay, these are new ones. Space Force is a new one. It's still developing. They're still coming into certain regs, but most of the regs are just built off some of the Air Force regs because it is a split of the Air Force, which back in the time, the Air Force was split of the Army. So it's a newer branch. So with that, you have to decide which one fits your goal and your mission in life the best. Marines are more hands-on, they're more frontline soldiers. Army, similar, they're more infantry. They do a lot of running, they do a lot of exercise. And I really based my decision off their PT test. I was like, baby, we gotta run 2 miles. No, thank you. That's not for me. And I was like, this is the sprint dragon carry. That don't sound fun. So I definitely was like, no, this will not work for me. It seems like when they go in the field, they intense. I'm scared of bugs. This is not gonna work. I mean, anywhere you're gonna have to deal with bugs. But I was like, this is not gonna work. So at the time when I joined, the Space Force wasn't a military branch, but I was stationed on a Space Force base, but I wasn't in a Space Force unit, so I wasn't split off when they split the Air Force into those branches. And again, this is just my experience. I'm not talking no political. I don't know anything about that. So yeah, when they split them off, I of course stayed Air Force. Folks, some folks I went to basic and tech school with went to the Space Force. So I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, Navy, they're water-based. I suck at swimming. I didn't want to swim. I didn't want to float. I didn't want to be on a boat. Most of my deployment wasn't for me, but they have great deployments. They have some great ports, but I just was like, no, this is not. But it was one of my top contenders. If it wasn't the Air Force, it was the Navy. But I just didn't want to be on a boat all the time. And the Air Force, I was like, they always call us the chair force, but I was like, we getting paid the same. Let me just go with it. We getting paid the same. Let me just go with the easier option. It's not easier. There are trade-offs in all of them, but I am very happy with my choice that I chose the Air Force. I love the Air Force. I love my experience in the Air Force. I will say that. I love my experience in the Air Force. But that's why I chose the reserves, because my primary mission was school and building my life, so I didn't have to build my life after the military. I wanted to do it in conjunction with everything and gain that experience while I could, because I didn't want to get into that same pattern of you don't have enough experience. But one positive thing that the military does have is the DoD skill bridge. Before you are separated from active duty, to gain that experience, the DoD skill bridge does allow you to basically intern at a company that offers the DoD skill bridge. And if a company isn't listed as offering a skill bridge, you can ask them if they can create a position that offers the DoD skill bridge, because the military is paying you to basically intern at these companies, so you have something to fall into when you get out and you go home. It is an awesome resource, because it's like, this is one less thing to worry about. I can find a skill bridge in something that I enjoy, because the skill bridges were literally in anything, media, Disney, like Windows, Microsoft, Google, Lockheed Martin, so many awesome companies that are really hard to get into, that it was a nice way to like get your foot in the door. And most times it does lead to an employment offer. And if you don't get the employment offer, you now have experience in that career. So awesome resource. So I didn't know this. This is not information that's given to you before you join. I didn't know, oh, you could do a DoD skill bridge. I just thought you'd have to build your life out there. That is not always true, okay? Now, I'm not saying that the DoD skill bridge offers you employment, but it definitely gets your foot in the door. And the folks I know that did it got a job at the place that they were doing the job for anyways. So I will say that I'm happy with my decision, because I love all 6 years of it. So I've deployed once. My FFC was 2 Whiskey O, but of course in deployments you do extra duties. So my extra duty was tool room, CTK. We went over the military branches, of course. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would recommend it based on my experience. Everyone's experience is not the same. Not everyone's leadership is the same. Leadership does change, and there are a lot of sucky moments. Trust and believe. There's a lot of quiet and hurry up and wait moments. There's a lot of it's a ring structure, so there are those moments, but I did enjoy the people that I went through the suck with. I enjoyed the people that I had to hurry up and wait with. I enjoyed my experience. I felt very protected. I felt safe as a woman in the Air Force Reserves. So I'm grateful for the folks that I was around. I felt that I could speak up and there were people actually on my team. And I was grateful for that because being in the reserves, these men and women had families. They wanted to go home just as much as I wanted to go. So it wasn't like they're keeping you here because they're mad at home and they don't want to go home. No, they wanted to go home to their families just as much as I wanted to go home. We were both going through the suck. So I'm so grateful for that because that, to me, is very hard sometimes to find leadership that actually enjoys their home. And if they didn't enjoy their home, they ain't really got no choice. It's regs in order to protect you. So yes, my greatest takeaway is to do your research. Figure out what branch works best for you. Do not join the military for money. Do not join the military for partying because it's so much more than that. And also don't join for travel. You will travel if everything is dependent on your unit, your job, all of that. I know some folks that were in the same amount of time, never deployed, never traveled in their career field ever. They stayed just where they were. But there were a lot that got a lot of cool places. I got to see a lot of cool places based on my job, but that was based on a rotation depending on who wanted to go and availability. And a lot of times I was on the end of the stick where it got canceled. COVID hit, so I wasn't able to go to certain things and maybe put on a strike as soon as I wanted to. So it's definitely learning how to pivot in times that it may seem difficult. It's times where you may not see the end of the dark tunnel. And I've failed PT tests before, so that is a really dark time. So yeah, take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mentality. One thing that I will say is a takeaway from the military, while it does have all those awesome benefits, and I'm sure you've probably seen videos of people talking about the VA loan and GI Bill, all those awesome benefits, it comes at a cost. There's always a cost to anything that you do. The cost that I had to pay for the military was the changes in my body. My career field was on the flight line. So I have tinnitus. I have sometimes hearing loss. I get headaches due to the ringing in my ears. And I'm 25. I'm talking like I'm an old lady. So these are things, like the military can age your body a lot quicker than it would have if you were not in the military. If you were just a regular person. My knees hurt when I get up. My feet hurt 24/7. My feet, I have plantar fasciitis. I'm flat-footed. My feet hurt all the time. And my job required a lot of standing, a lot of being on my feet, and I loved every minute of it. But there is a toll, there's a price to pay, and the price to pay is with your body. In my career field, and your mental too, it does take a toll. There are times where your job, to support the mission, you may have to work 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. You may, depending on your job, you may have 16-hour shifts 5 days a week. Who knows? It is dependent on your job. Just make sure to do your research. I think it's so important that we have these resources so people can figure out what they're getting into, what they're signing their selves over into, because it's important. Your family is dependent on it. I didn't join when I joined the military, I didn't have any kids or a husband. When I left, I didn't have any kids or a husband. That's one thing, that was one non-negotiable that I said I was not going to do. And I'm happy that I didn't. But it would have been useful on like the deployment, because you are there by yourself a lot. I got to travel. I got to see some awesome sightseeing things and do touristy things and where I deployed. But I didn't, at the end of the day, I didn't have a family there waiting on me, cheering me, holding a sign, saying yay, boo-hoo. You know, the people that I had were my grandparents. They're older. They didn't necessarily have a car. Again, they have enough to make it by, but they don't have enough to afford certain luxuries. So yeah, just learn to take care of yourself. It helps set boundaries. It helped me grow as a woman. I will say I am more mature, and I now know how to research resources a little bit better than my peers. But at the same time, I still have to build my life. I do feel a little bit ahead of my peers on that aspect. I know some people join the military without a plan. They're just like, I just want to get out of this situation. Completely understandable. But when you're in there, because time flies, get a plan, figure it out. I know like in high school, they rushed us a little bit to have that together, college too. If you're in your contract's 8 years, 6 years, by the end of that 6 years or 8 years, you need to have a plan of action, and you need to be working towards that, because usually around that time you already have been to a couple bases. If you chose active duty, you're probably working on a family, you're in your career. Make sure that you are getting out the military something, because they are going to get their money's worth out of you. You're an investment, and you want to make sure you're going to the doctor when you feel something. Make sure your leg is hurting, your back is hurting, go get seen. Your head is hurting, you're getting migraines, go get seen. Keep track of the migraines. Make sure to have a record of this stuff. Keep your records of your stuff. Do not rely on anyone to take care of you. Keep your records. Have your knowledge. Know your regs. As a woman, I cannot stress this enough. As a Black woman, know your regs. Know your hair standards, please. You would think in the times that we're in 2025, people will be more advanced. But again, people joining the military a lot of times are from poverty areas. That it's not just city areas that have poverty. There are country areas that have poverty, and there are some areas that do not have a lot of us people there. So know your standards, because some people are not as open-minded as you are. Not a lot of people have experience with other races. So please, please, please know your standards. People will try you. It's not just the military, it's life. So you want to always make sure to be on your P's and Q's. If you can, and you're in the military and you're watching this, have your medical records, print them out. Get a CD. You're leaving the military, get your medical records. Get them. Have them burn it onto a CD, please. Make sure your records are up to date. Stay on top of your records. Stay on top of your education. Stay on top of your goals. Have goals and work towards it. Do not get out the military in 20 years and you have nothing to show for your service, because time is flying. Life is going to keep lifing. Make sure you're working towards something. It's okay to join and not have a plan. Nobody says you have to have all the answers, but make sure you take the time to figure out the answers to those questions. Who are you? What do you want to do? Don't wait till the end of your career to figure those things out, because life does not stop moving. So thank you for watching this video. That was the end of this. This is why I joined the military. If you have any more questions, if you guys want to see another video or more girl talks or people talks, because this is a people talk, but if you want to hear more videos about my military experience, basic training, I can go week by week about how that was. Please do it while my memory is good, please. But yes, about basic training, how to prepare, what I packed, what are important things that I took note of when I left. Please let me know. I will make sure to make a video and put that out for you guys. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you guys, also guys and gals, I hope y'all made the Jade with me. I hope that you guys tune into the next video. If you are new here, please make sure to subscribe and like and interact with this video. If you are returning and you haven't liked this video already, what are you doing? I'm about to go take my dog to the dog park. I'll see y'all later, bookies.
Yeah, 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 yeah. yeah, 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 yeah.